Welcome to Indie Music Podcast, episode 329, Vacations, Binaural Listening, and VO Podcast Chain. This morning, Matt and I get together, and it's been a while since we have, because Matt was on vacation, then had a little bit of a business trip to LA. So we're finally kind of catching up. I talk about some of the thoughts on headphones and LCR mixing and some of the problems that I see with that. And then we get into discussing some VO chain topics. I have had some recent changes in the way that I am routing my VO chain, and Matt kind of chimed in on that as well. So anyway, it's a pretty good discussion, and we hope you enjoy the show. Thanks.
Doug, oh my God, how
What's
are
happening, man? I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm all right. It's been ages.
It has been.
Your hair has grown since I last saw it. I like it.
Thanks. So welcome back. We're
Thanks,
back.
sir. This is the longest break we've had in 2.5 years. And
Well, yeah, kind of. It wasn't that graceful either, but
no,
we
it
did.
wasn't.
Zach and I squeezed one in last week, and so we're and we'll get this one out Saturday. It's going to happen. So
yeah, this was
coming from behind.
Been some life stuff going on here.
Yeah, but did you enjoy your time off?
It was a very interesting and mostly fun vacation.
Yeah.
And then part 2 was a less fun and more interesting trip down south to LA to move my son home.
Right on.
Also
the whitewater rafting looked fun. Where were you at for that?
That was Ashland, Oregon. So that was
okay.
That was probably the highlight of the trip.
I've done that down in Sun River area before.
Yeah, we've been river rafting, but the most we've ever done is class 2, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe class 3, but this was
I don't remember. I remember it being pretty brutal, but
this was class 4, and it was we had a really great guide, and I highly recommend, if you're going to do river rafting, to make sure you have a guide and that they know what they're doing. But yeah.
And the trip to LA, good times?
No, that was strictly business. That was to move my son out of his very weird apartment in his very weird town, and it involved turning our house upside down to accommodate his furniture for the next 6 months, and driving a big U-Haul truck on I-5.
Yeah, I've done that.
So, that's an adventure.
Yeah, I had a big U-Haul, like a 24-foot U-Haul with a vehicle trailer on the back.
Oh,
all the way across the country in I-5, and yeah, it was wonderful.
Wonderful's a word.
Yeah. It's so, doesn't it say that like on the side of their moving van?
It says something like that.
Yeah.
Like as if you're touring the country and not just, hauling a bunch of stuff and getting very expensive gas.
Yeah. So do you, based on what we just heard, which vacation, A or B, would you recommend for our listeners?
Well, B was not a vacation. B was just a down.
Oh, you were away. You were off work. That's vacation. Did you take vacation time?
I took a vacation time.
There you have it. That's all I need to know.
Any break from work is beneficial, I think, to some degree.
So you would recommend A?
I would recommend A. The one that you choose and do interesting, fun things in new cities.
Yeah. Now Portland, like you were having a good time there.
We did have a good time in Portland. Yeah,
got out and about.
Food, saw some nice gardens, and went to the guitar shop, and went out to see a show at Dante's, which is a great venue. Yeah, we had a good time up there.
Nice.
Went out to the coast.
Used to be a great place. I don't know. I'm assuming it still is. So
it is. There's been a lot of stuff in the press about it not being great, and we were, worried about what we might find, and yeah, so we saw some sketchy stuff, but for the most part, the city's the same as I remember it from when I used to go up there pretty regularly some years ago. When my brother lived there, stayed there, and hang out in the city, drink some good beers, eat some good food. It's all there.
Yeah,
it's all so good.
my uh my view is skewed from what it normally is tonight. And I've actually got like a little bit of my light and the frame.
Yeah, I see it.
I could go.
Why is it different? It's a little
Oh, I've been taking my tripod out side doing some night sky photography and stuff, and so I just moved it back down. And
well, that's cool.
yeah.
Are you sharing examples of that, or are you still working on it to kind of get it
Oh,
down?
I have some. Yeah, I haven't. I've shared it on my personal Facebook. Is about it. But,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I'll send some. Oh, didn't I send one your way?
You sent one. You're like one of your first ones, yeah.
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 So,
Well, full moon is coming. I'd be interested to see what you
you know,
can
that's like the ridiculous to try and take a picture of the full moon. So, because it's bright, you know, and
right. Yeah.
you know, and contrast at nighttime. It's just, you know, without having a really good telephoto lens, it's almost impossible to.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense. It looks big to us, and then you take a picture of it, and it's like tiny little dot.
Tiny.
You're like, what happened?
I got one the other night, and it was at dusk.
Okay.
And it's easier to take a more decent picture of the moon at dusk, for sure.
It's the most contrasting. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Well, that's exciting. What else has been going on with you?
Man, busy. So mastering CD projects and a couple new releases.
Right.
Yeah, it's been really good. And
Good.
so yeah, the studio has been active. So I like that.
Excellent. Glad to hear that.
Been thinking and started to write, but I haven't got too far into it. This some thoughts on headphones,
Mhm.
and which is basically uh, my argument for headphones are not actually stereo,
Mm.
and they're binaural,
Yes.
and you hear left and right signals, and in a mix that doesn't have hard panning, it doesn't matter too much. But if you are doing LRC mixing,
Mhm.
then it really kind of breaks down as far as the stereo image is concerned in headphones.
Interesting.
And that's because, like in the open air, your right ear still hears the left channel, and your left ear still hears the right channel. It just
Right.
hears it at a different time,
Right.
you know, depending on proximity, you
Mhm.
know, and maybe a little bit of Haas effect and things like that that add to that. In headphones, your left ear hears the left channel, and your right ear hears the right channel. And when you have an LRC mix, then you're not going to hear any right channel on the left side or vice versa. And so the mix is drastically different than what you actually hear in open air for that. And that may be, you know, if that's intentional, that's cool. If it's not intentional, it's, I think, problematic.
Mm.
And I think it's important to keep that in consideration when you're deciding how you're doing your panning in you know, during your mix, and how you're going to set that up. And I know LRC is popular, and I think LRC is really cool in open air, but I just don't think it translates at all to headphones.
Yeah, that's very interesting. What about I think that's true of dry instruments and dry panning, but what about stuff that's wet, where you have say a guitar on one side, but then you have it sent to like room reverb that spreads across the stereo field. You're gonna hear that in your left channel.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be how do you like the balance? Because the balance is going to be different in headphones than it's going to be in open air. So there you still have a lack of translation of you know, from one kind of platform to the other. You know, it sounds different. Um, you know, because you have you have a heavier signal perhaps on the left
Mhm.
with the guitar, with a lighter, lower level signal of the reverb that's kind of taking up the other side, you
Right.
know, and you know, and so that well, I think there's also the let's say I don't have this in fresh in my mind, but we also have to consider that left is the left plus the mid, I think, and right is the right is the difference. So anything that's different between the left and mid and right is what you hear in the right side. So so the left is the sum of the left and mid, and the right is the difference of the right and mid, I think. So anyway, if you have something set up the middle, and it's going to, that's what creates a stereo image is the differences,
Sure.
and so all you're hearing over on the right is going to be what's different. And if you've got that reverb, then your right's going to be the reverb, but you're not really going to catch any of that other guitar that's in the left channel, because you're only getting what's different from the left and the mid. So if that guitar's in the mid and the left, then the right isn't going to be reproducing that.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I actually don't mix LCR, but I can see how that would.
Now, if you have a well-balanced pan mix and you're maybe doing 25% on each side and it's even, then, and you have speaking of guitars, so it's a popular thing to do a couple guitar tracks, two different takes of the same line or something like that, and then pan one left, pan one right. That's cool, and that's part of building that image, and it's also helping to maybe alleviate phase with the different tracks, and then keeping them separate, on a different side, so they're not coming from so the exact same thing isn't coming from the exact same place, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so I've been thinking about that because what I ran into, I think it's important to think about it in context of your recording as well, because I had a recording of an instrument that was recording both the front and the rear of this instrument, and it was quite different as far as the level of the recording.
Okay.
And so you could imagine maybe the front and back of a guitar cabinet or something like that.
Right. That's what I was thinking. The first thing I thought of.
Yeah. And in this case, it wasn't, but guitar cabinet's a good representation. And then it got panned, as far as I can tell. And it sounded really good in open air, and I didn't even notice it. And then in the headphones, though, it was completely imbalanced. And so the stronger side, which is the front mic, was on one side, and the weaker side was on the other side in headphones. And it was that was uncomfortably out of balance, if you know what I mean. But in open air, you never notice it because you can hear, both ears can hear both sides, And so if you have imbalance in recordings like that, it can come through. And that's not even really LCR. That was, that just the nature of how it was recorded,
Yeah.
And and that caused an uncomfortable imbalance, inside headphones. So, so that's kind of what spurred on my thoughts around this, and just started doing some reading and stuff like that around it. I think I'll write an article. I've been putting articles up on LinkedIn for the last few weeks, and on different stuff. And so I thought it's kind of my blog, just doing articles there. And I haven't actually had
these days for people, for freelancers and people.
I haven't actually maintained a blog in a long time, and I don't really want to anymore. But it's kind of nice there. You can create articles, and it's pretty easy, and you don't have the overhead of maintaining a website with it. So
yeah, I've used Medium for that. I don't know how popular Medium is these days, but
I think it's really popular. Yeah, it comes up in topics all the time.
Yeah.
I know a few people who write technical articles on Medium.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe I'll get back to that. I haven't had a lot of time for extracurricular activities lately.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that happens when you take a break, and that's one thing that's beneficial for taking breaks, is that it it removes you from the context of your day to day, and it helps give you clarity on priorities and stuff that you just kind of get caught up in circumstantially, and because everything's meaningful only in context, right? Like Money is only money because we agree that it has value. It's only valuable in context. Whereas, like, if you have an apple tree has intrinsic value. It provides shade, it provides apples, right?
Yeah.
You know, thing that has its own value, whereas money is just a concept. So you find out that there's a lot of stuff that you think are is valuable and important, but it's only because you're doing it or caught up in it or whatever, and then you take yourself away from it and come back and go, oh, that doesn't mean anything at all.
Yeah. Well,
So yeah,
you know, in the end, nothing really matters.
no, I know. So says Queen.
Yeah.
No, it's and Marcus Aurelius. So yeah, no, that's all true. But it's just interesting to take yourself out of your own context and just kind of like go somewhere else for a while and problem solve and visit and enjoy and experience and then come back and see how you refit back in your own peg or
Yeah. It's the coming back part, you know?
yeah. Yeah. The coming back part can be tricky. Yeah, well, especially when you come back and your whole house is turned upside down and there's new people living there and you're like, okay, I
Yeah.
have to rethink everything that I took for granted, like the bathroom schedule.
Oh, yeah.
the
Well,
meal
hey,
plan.
think of it this way, you know, you've got more places to sit, you know? You know, there's a good side of everything. So yeah, you know, you could get one of those pods. Those are not too expensive.
Pod? What pod?
You know, to put all the storage thing you put in your yard or
Oh, no,
driveway and put stuff in it.
have to rent a storage facility.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. That was what I did all day yesterday. Or no.
Oh,
Sunday.
so you did go, so you got a storage facility, not just your house isn't the storage facility, it's just sort of a staging facility to go to storage.
Correct. Yeah,
Gotcha.
we need to move furniture out, move furniture in.
How's your back doing?
It's recovering. There's a lot of lifting.
So anything musical going on?
I have a mix project coming in the end of the week. I did do a podcast edit right before I left, and then I kind of put everything on hold, and then I have a new mix project coming in the end of the week, and I'm just kind of getting revamped. I didn't want to leave anybody hanging, so I kind of let everybody know that I was out, that I was going to be away. So got to restart the engine.
So I've retooled my audio here. Does it sound any different?
It sounds cleaner and
Does it?
clearer. I think so.
Good.
I mean, we haven't talked for 3 weeks, so
Yeah, yeah. So I'm going back through the DBX.
okay.
And, you know, as I had mentioned to you, I discovered what the problem was
Right.
previously with the DB, and it wasn't the DBX. It was the
Right.
the way my system was configured for bitrate. And I mean, it's working great. You know, now that I am aware of when I can change the bitrate on my microphone preamp, and that will change the bitrate in the audio
Okay.
here. But if I change the bitrate up here in the audio, it won't change the bitrate on my microphone preamp. And so anyway, it's possible to get a mismatch.
Yep.
I'm not sure why that is. I mean, it's connected with a you know, with the world clock cable, but maybe it needs to be, there's an in and an out, so maybe I need to run 2 world clock cables and connect it both directions, and maybe that would actually fix it. I'm not sure.
Well, that's something to try for sure.
Yeah. And then yeah, and I went through and I just went through a whole setup process and turned everything to Unity on the DBX and went through and set it up again. I actually sent a file over and got some feedback from our friend Aaron on a quick read that I did just to get an idea. He tore me apart, threw me down on the curb, you know.
Good old Aaron.
Yeah, no, he was awesome. So thank you, Aaron, for the feedback. Hopefully this is a better representation. It's always good to get professional feedback on your voice audio, you know. and a little bit of tweaking on some EQ.
Yeah.
Just to I learned, as far as vocal smoothing, and with my voice, which is it has a little bit of a graininess to it, is to a little contrary to my own the way of thinking, the perception of it was to actually bring the mids up a little bit to help soften it, where I thought that was going to do the converse, but it actually seems to help. Got like a 50 hertz high pass, because there's nothing going on down there anyway, just to get rid of stuff that we don't need, and just to put a little bit of a bump at it, like 120 right above that.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I
that's
gave
kind of what I've been doing to your voice all along.
oh, really? And then I gave just a little bit of a bump at I think it's around 22 or something like that. And then I put a 16K high shelf on it. So
okay.
So sound like close to what you're doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe you don't have to do that anymore. So anyway, so that's what I've done, and then hopefully it translates better once you get the vocal file. So, but anyway, that's how I set my audio up.
I'm hearing it through Zoom right now, right? So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see if there's any, how it sounds when I get your audio file in.
I mean, generally, I think Zoom, if it sounds decent in Zoom, it sounds a lot better in recorded file. So
I agree. I have a preset that I made, an EQ preset that's basically takes a regular Zoom audio, because it usually has a particular kind of imbalanced EQ curve, and it reverses that and turns it into a normal sounding voice, and you kind of hear it and go, oh, that sounds way better.
Cool.
I don't actually have to do that for us because we use our own recorded audio, but once in a while and with guests, I have to use that.
All right, on. Well, hey, why don't we call it a little bit early, give you a chance to recover. Sounds like you could use some rest. So
yeah, I just took a nap.
But I think we'll just wind up to the full length show here. But this is cool. It's good to be back.
It is good to be back. It's good to talk to you again.
And yeah, you too.
We'll probably talk again on Saturday, right?
I would imagine. Yeah, talk to you on Saturday morning.
All right.
And we'll talk to the rest of you on Saturday morning too.
That's right.
Thank you for listening.
Thanks, everybody. We appreciate you.
Cheers.
Cheers.